We're back, and it's week 2 of Hearthstone Grandmasters here for the Asia-Pacific region. We're on the first day of 3, and we're on match number 5, which means it's pretty much getting towards the end of the day for us. Another very quick Asia-Pacific week. That's why it's obviously the best region to watch, is that you can consume more Hearthstone in a shorter period of time, which is what we all want, of course. But we have got Pathra versus blitzchung, which is going to be our last match of the day. Let's take a look at Patra's deck. She's going to be bringing Mage, so it's yet a different Mage matchup we've got. It's going to be Mage versus mid-range hunter or beast hunter, depending on what people do like to call it. But for a start, let's look at Patra's build, because Patra's build, very similar to the Warrior from last week. I feel like this is one of my more preferred styles of list for Grandmasters specifically.
Well, there's an interesting card inclusion here in Patra's Mage that some of you may not even know is in the game. 2 mana Mage spell Snap Freeze.
Language hacker, saying it like it is.
Well, I mean,
this is a card honestly, you probably don't know exists.
This is a card you get off of Mana Cycle and you're like, what is it? Let me read this. It acts as a freeze, and if a minion is already frozen, you kill a minion. So it's a really interesting card to include, and it's definitely a nod to obviously the expectation of a lot of Mage. If your opponent plays Mountain Giant, like we said, Mage does not have a lot of single target removal in this deck, apart from Ray of Frost, which isn't always removal. So the fact that you have a 2 mana combination with Ray of Frost Kill a Giant can be very swingy in sort of the mirrors. Against other decks, though, it's probably going to be a bit more difficult to use effectively, but it might still end up being useful against mid-range hunter too.
I think there's sideways benefits as well, because look at Mech Hunter, it's an additional freeze to stop the one big threat pushing, and you know, just saying no, you don't like get to attack with this is actually very powerful right now, because I feel Hearthstone at the moment is so minion combat based that just denying that for a relatively cheap cost is good, and sometimes you just kill a minion, which is pretty sick too. Let's check out blitzchung's list, sorry, as I stumble over my own words. This is a list I've actually been trying out since I saw him submit it, as it is a hunter list, of course. But I like this list more than Mech Hunter, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure if it's because I dislike Mech Hunter as a deck versus I like mid-range Hunter as a deck. But also, I was playing with it, and a lot of the time I feel like without certain tech cards, so many decks just aren't prepared to deal with just Hunter stuff. Mainly Dire Frenzy, which is a huge problem, but also just having consistent just stuff to play every single turn, with the help of course, how powerful Master's Call is. 3 mana, you know, oh, Mage, you've got 3 mana draw 2 cards, I have 3 mana draw 3. And a lot of them are playable in similar turns too, so I feel like this deck, for me at least, is very powerful. It's a little bit powerful versus, for example, I'd say Warrior. It's a very straightforward matchup. A bit more difficult versus Mage, but overall I do like this for blitzchung, and I think blitzchung's a very consistent player, so I think this could be a dangerous week for his opponents.
Yeah, he's got some stuff against aggro. We see the Scale Hides in there too. Shuffling in a bunch of Scale Hides with Dire Friends can help quite a bit against aggro. Obviously, you can tech into your side decks for even more anti-aggro tools, but I feel like this main list checks a lot of boxes. You've got like a nice curve you can just throw down against Mage, be aggressive early enough, and then just end up finishing them off. And yeah, I think you can fight for the board against a lot of the other decks too. So I think the Beast or Mid-Range Hunter is a good bring right now against Mage, or against what you expect other people to bring against Mage too.
Yeah, I also think the Stranglethorn Tiger is a card that's been close to being in and out of Mid-Range Hunter forever, since people started playing Mid-Range Hunter, and it's because it's so often just guaranteed minimum 5 damage. It's a beast that could almost guarantee activate even following turns kill command. And versus Mage, when you can get the early part of the game done by pushing a bit of damage and getting some threats there, then you drop Tiger on 5 outside of a Nova.
Yeah,
well, they can't
free
aim
something, you can't target
anything. So then you bank 5 more damage, 7 with hero power, and then anything else, you start adding up so much extra damage that you almost just snowball and then just suddenly finish the game versus Mage, and don't give them an opportunity to deal with it. Also, a side note, there is one Unleash in the primary deck. There is another deck, the tertiary deck, which has a second copy, but I was just meaning for those wide boards that Mage sometimes gets, Unleash push more damage, go.
Definitely.
So I think we see the players get ready. Patra's giving a quick yawn there. I hope there's enough sleep, because you need to be on point when you're playing some of the hardest Hearthstone you've ever played in Grandmasters. Some of the best players in the world here, and this is gonna be huge, because I know as well, like Patra went 0-2 last weekend. They were very close series, and you know, there are many people who could argue that it was as close to a win without winning. But 0-2 start, yeah, you need to start getting those wins under your belt, or you're going to start trailing behind very quickly.
Yeah.
And as we say, how long this league is, you know, across 8 weeks, effectively, those weeks start ticking by really quickly. And if you lose your first few matches, the pressure builds and builds and builds when you have less and less leeway to actually, you know, once the weeks run out, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the standings earlier today. Those are going to be updated for you every week that we can take a look at and see how they're kind of progressing. And starting off 0-2 is rough, but it's week 1 is probably the only week where you can be like, all right, I've lost like a lot of stuff, but it's fine. There's 7 weeks left.
Yeah.
You can just start taking wins now.
Matches,
yeah, 14 matches to go, 2 every week. So there's still a lot of games left to be played. So Patrick can still find herself in a good spot.
Okay, let's get straight into it, Petra.
Keep Cyclone Buffoon in the opening hand going first. Without coin, it's a bit more difficult to do some of your combos because like the coin just enables a lot of stuff. Cheaper Mountain Giant, more Cyclone cards.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is where the mulligan does get interesting for me because I don't know if this is correct, but I completely understand it because you need stuff to do, and that helps a lot.
Oh yeah,
we might even see Ping turn 2, Buffoon, and then Apprentice, Banana, go. Unless there's an invocation, which, you know, whatever. Sure.
In some cases, I've seen people, she might not do it now, but some people have also played like Apprentice on 2. Just say, all right, I hope you don't have anything, and then they go Buffoon, buff up the Apprentice, and then suddenly, you know, you're kind of beating the opponent down. But I think this is one of the matchups where you don't want to do that because blitzchung can just go something like Spring Pod, or even just Spring Pod by itself can clear it off. So
that's the problem. It's just a 1-card requirement, and a card you often want in your open hand anyway. And for me as well, one thing. I think you still Buffoon.
Yeah, no, you still Buffoon. No, you don't do it this turn.
Yeah.
You just weave in the bananas. This also means. Well, go ahead. You know.
Okay. I'll go, then you go.
Sure.
Deal? Okay. You can go first next time.
Okay.
But what I was going to say is, we talk a lot about the variance in mage spells. But I feel like versus Hunter, the variance like doesn't feel as bad because all of the AoE is good. Blast Wave is good enough.
Yeah.
Right? All of the AoE is good enough. All of the direct damage is good enough to kill specific tools, to kill specific minions, and then you have the tools to, like, more minion generation is obviously what you want in this deck anyway. So I feel like in this matchup, there's random spells you're going to generate, or Patra's going to generate from this big turn, are always going to be at minimum decent, at minimum. There's going to be no whiffs.
I wanted to go in very quickly because
yeah, you need to make some decisions
not
right
that
now.
many decisions, but depending on what's off a magic trick, you could take a long time to think about that. So
I've magic tricked 5 times in a row before. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. Magic trick, magic trick, magic trick.
So she actually has the mana to pick up Entity here. And I really like this. It's just something else that helps you fight a little bit for board. And it's a secret that makes blitzchung potentially have to consider playing around. So I like this a lot since you have the evocation for the Mana Cyclone.
It's like the perfect turn, right?
No, this is really good. The only thing, Ray of Frost instead of the Giant would have been the perfect turn. It's nice having the Giant as something to develop, but Ray of Frost would have also let you kill off the Amisha.
I think I'd rather take a Giant.
Yeah?
Because a Giant's natural minion you can do, you know, spells are
That's
great.
True.
But the thing is, this Giant, although it's going up in mana cost, is very quickly going to go back down again as soon as the Cyclone hits the board. So the Giant is sick, because Lloyd could just play it next turn. Did get a Ray of Frost anyway, just do it all.
Cool.
Okay, so there's the Lunar Pocket Galaxy as well. Small note, Patra is playing 1 Sandbinder and a Luna, so Luna's Pocket Galaxy with Luna is often pretty decent too.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool combo. That's why they're named after each other. Well, the Galaxy after Luna.
Are you sure?
Yeah. The Galaxy belongs to Luna.
Okay. I was just making sure we understood the chicken and egg scenario.
No.
And
I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
but
it is.
It's very similar though, yeah.
You could fall into that trap though. Was Luna named after the galaxy, so she made a pocket version of it? Think about that one.
blitzchung taking a risk here. Obviously, it is technically a random secret. Pathra did discover it, but the chances of it being counterspell aren't that likely. So he does just go for the mark shot, saying, I just want that apprentice off the board. Works
the
out.
big key is she didn't discover it, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times, for example, a Keysmith, at the moment, often gives you the secret that you really want. So the Giant there, like I said, was important as far as I'm concerned. Getting something down to play and actually provide a threat is huge because all the spells in the world, unless they're all fireballs and frostbolts, you still have to win the game.
There's the only way to get at this from blitzchung's point of view is literally the one of, is it one of Deadly Shot? Yeah, 1 Deadly Shot on the main list, and I don't even think you'd want to take the 1 and 3 here.
I think you just Hunter's Mark kill command, right?
Oh yeah, I guess you can do that. Oh, I didn't see the kill command. I was hiding behind the hounds. I was
There's a
looking
lot
at the
of cards in
hounds.
hand, to be fair.
But still, like from Patra's perspective, if the hunter's reacting, that's good for you, because normally the hunter's going in and you're like,
100%.
okay, I need to stop damage, I need to develop my own game plan. But this is Patra's in a good spot here.
Yeah, one thing to note though, Hunter has gotten a lot better because of Call of the Wild. Not Call of the Wild, I always call that Master's Call.
Yeah.
I always call it Call of the Wild, it's crazy. Because I play the deck a lot. But yeah, Master's Call means the deck's gotten a lot better at playing a little bit slower and playing a little bit more combo. Already, look at Tundra's Rhino Unleash Hyena. It's a very straightforward entry combo sort of thing, but that is scary. And Patra can't just go wide with a load of little things, because the second the taunts go away,
I actually just don't like this from Pat. I want her to develop the Spellbender here instead of go Magic Trick, because there's very few things you could actually get off of this. You want to play this turn anyways.
Or even if you can play them, they don't make an impact, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And if she's doing this because she wants to go Cyclone, I feel like you're not getting enough Cyclone value. Like, sure, your hand's already kind of full, but you can save the Cyclone for later. It doesn't have to come down now. Now, I was saying she was in a good spot last turn, but now that the Giant's gone, she doesn't have that much to develop, which is why I kind of want the Spellbender to kind of, if she can't develop her own game plan, kind of try to put a wrench in blitzchungs, you know?
And that's the problem with just a hard play Giant, is that, again, Patra is playing Archmage Antonidas, but outside of that, it's all about Conjurer's Call on Giants. And now you don't have any. Albert, you know, obviously there isn't a Conjurer's Call in hand anyway, so she had to do something. But I just mean like the repercussions of losing your Giant solo.
Yeah. I feel like the Spellbender would have been much, much better. With the Magic Trick, you're not even 100% sure. I mean, against Hunter, you can kind of get a sense of some of the spells that are good against Hunter, but depending on the situation, you might not know exactly which spell is the exact one you want. Like, for example, with this Unleash coming out, alright, well, most of the minions are going to be traded off, but let's say there were some hounds left on the board. Instead of Frostbolt, maybe you would have wanted a Shooting Star. Right? So
exactly.
You don't quite know the exact card you need, and you just had a play that was just good there. And in the Spellbender, with a Mark Shot and a Kill Command and a Hunter's Mark gone, there's not that many more ways to proc it, so if you just block Dire Frenzy, that's kind of huge. And if they have to play Dire Frenzy, and they just say, alright, if you have Spellbender, you have Spellbender, you get a 4/6. So, I don't know.
I think as well, the real fear, or what I found was very powerful with this matchup specifically, is the Zul'jin turn often has very limited answers from the mage. If you get to play Zul'jin, I mean, most classes have this issue, but Warriors have Brawl, for example, but as the mage, unless you have very specific, like, sort of generated spells, or you lethal them, you've got very few answers to that board, and you will often just die.
There's a few Unleash the Beast on the board, you know, some
Animal
Master's Calls go off.
Animal Comp's a big deal too.
A Deadly Shot goes off sometimes.
Right, yeah. It's kind of scary, isn't it? And if blitzchung gets there, and with the Unleash the Beast, and you know, even like Tundra Rhino and some Shimmer Flies, you've got enough stuff to bridge the gap to turn 10 quite easily.
Patra cleaning up the Scavenging Hyena here. Definitely good. You don't want that lying around. Ice Bear can help stall a bit later, get some extra health. Blitzchung has a few options here.
I'd really like Shimmerfly and Unleash the Beast.
Yeah, just get it out there, spend the mana. You have Zul'jin. I don't hate this.
I think I prefer doing it with more stuff, or doing it with an animal companion.
Yeah, there's a bunch of random stuff in Patra's hand. I'd rather she use that to like get rid of Unleash the Beast. Obviously, we can see that very few of those cards are actually going to help her clean up the Tundra Rhino, but I feel like this is just a fine turn to get out the Unleash the Beast.
Rapid Fire's not half bad either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I like Unleash the Beast because it often doesn't help you anyway. So just play it to kill something off and give the threat of a 5/5. Then play it. You could have played it this turn with a Shimmerfly, and then next turn you can play it with another 1-drop, and then just 2 1-drops. Then keep pushing, and then just tell like. Patra cannot feel comfortable playing a Giant Conjurers into a board that already has a 5/5 on it, or even a 5/3 or whatever, right? Because you lose almost half your Giant already, and Hunter's pretty good at damage from hand.
Crossbow coming out from Patra. She could develop the Sea Giant, but I don't think leaving a Rhino on the board is a good idea. So
it's almost like not developing the Sea Giant is leaving the Rhino on board, because it's the same thing. Let's has to be pinged up.
She's considering Cinderstorm. Maybe just get it out of the hand now. But I think you just want to Fire Blast and say, all right, let's just be safe.
You're not hitting too hard of a punish, leaving the Timberwolf up for 1 turn. But still, you know, this is the trick, right?
So Pathra knows that there's another rush minion in Blitzchung's hand, one of the leftover links.
I think you trade that 2-1 off.
Yeah, that's fine.
You do have to have, while you've not got a deadly shot, you do have to have a mind for Sea Giant at least. So
right.
I really like this play from Blitzchung. Blitzchung plays so solid, honestly. It's like, I can't even often recall plays where I'm like, nah, I don't think I would have done that. Maybe there was the Rhino play, but outside of that, I don't know. Blitzchung plays very, very solid.
Nova Snap Freeze an option here.
It's tough though, right? Because it's just one of 2 5/5s that are in hand. It's like,
right.
Yeah, Mage, how does it feel seeing your opponent play a spell and know they have the same one again in hand? Welcome to our world with Conjurer's Calling.
What I was getting at with the entity from Pathra, like she knew that there was another 1/1 rush in Blitzchung's hand, but Blitzchung also knows that Pathra knows that. So by playing the mirror entity, maybe she was trying to bait Blitzchung, making him think that like, oh, I wouldn't play another entity if there was a 1/1. Blitzchung wasn't having any of that.
Well, also as well, it's like, well, I make them spend 1 mana on a 1/1. Rush.
Sure. I mean, yeah, you don't have anything
else
to do.
of like, because also Hunter doesn't have that many minions that they would play into entity that are that good for you anyway, right? Yeah, there's not that much stuff.
Losing a Conch. So Pathra just went Book of Spectres, drew 3 cards. One was a Conch Calling. I do agree she needed to do something and just at some point take the risk, because you can't just remove Hunter stuff forever, right? You need to develop your own game plan and win, because eventually the Hunter is going to do something that you can't remove.
This turn.
Yeah.
All this is now is, I think Derek will correct me if this is too old a meme to go to,
sure.
But he's basically slapping Zul'jin on the top of the head, saying you can fit a lot of spells in this. It's just jamming all. I mean, this is just a good turn anyway.
Good turn.
But the fact you just lock it into Zul'jin doesn't have to be played next turn at all. There's still the second, you know, Unleash the Beast and so on and so on. But just locking it in and saying, Pathra, you don't only have to deal with this board. If you deal with it, I can just do it again.
Yep.
And then deal with it the second time. It's extremely unlikely.
No, I think that meme's fresh enough. You're good.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure Derek will let you know after. But
Did you see Derek's interview thing he tweeted?
No, I don't think I did.
Okay, so I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay.
But I'll give you the build-up.
Sure.
The build-up is, it's basically a clip, and it's TJ and Frodan doing a post-match interview for Grandmasters.
Okay.
Americas, of course.
Sure.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Gotcha.
Look at the tweet, guys. Nice shout out for Derek there. But it is very funny. I watched it when I woke up this morning, and it was a weird video to watch as soon as you wake up. But let's get back to this game. What does Pathra even do? What can she even do?
You're at 25 health. You can afford to take 10 once.
Right.
So maybe you
well,
just say,
twice,
all right.
Actually, sure. Want to get technical.
Maybe she just takes this turn and say, all right, I need to get stuff on the board. Like a Conch Calling's gone. I can't really just keep digging for other stuff. So let's go. And I do like that she took this line. It doesn't look great, obviously, but you need to do something, and doing nothing is much, much worse. Freezing Trap is sick. The Kill Command's sick too. The Cybertext trip's not bad. You get some more gas. But I think we will see a Freezing Trap here. Maybe not. Maybe.
I think.
What? Go for it.
This is just the way I play. I think I would just Kill Command the name Kill Command Face or something.
If Pathra was a bit lower, I'd be okay with it. I mean, sure, you can push 10 this turn, but
then you just play Zul'jin and you Kill Command's Face again. With the Huffer.
Could be your face, though.
No. That's not how you play Hunter. Language check. Are you a Hunter player?
I played at Worlds. It was okay.
Yeah. So by the sounds of it, no.
Too soon, Raven.
Oh, sorry, man.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm not the... Okay.
Okay, that's a good card. Never mind. Forget about it all. Play the Die Frenzy, go face.
Dr. Timberwolf. Oink Oink?
Yes.
Oink Oink?
No.
No?
I think...
I like Freezing Trap trade, but Oink Oink is tempting.
Well, I was going to Die Frenzy the 5/5s, believe it or not. Because you get a rushing minion that kills a giant.
5/5s can't go face.
No, but they kill a giant, which can be a taunt, which effectively opens up face damage.
Okay. Blitzchung killing off the mountain giant that can be Conjurer's Calling into a taunt, and rightfully so.
I will say as well, though, this whole choice from Blitzchung is reflective of the Conjurer's Calling being thrown away.
Oh yeah.
By the because freezing trap doesn't often do too much if your opponent's planning to just conjurers, and then I'll just kill you next turn when freezing trap doesn't matter.
Right.
Whereas with one of the conjurers gone away, blitzchung is and the way Patra's played. For example, is Patra ever going to play Mountain Giant, Sea Giant when she has a conjurers in hand? No.
Probably
Literally
not.
don't
Yeah.
make that play. You Mountain Giant and conjurers, or whatever. So the blitzchung is fully aware that the second conjurers isn't available. Hence why freezing trap is so much better than it is or would be otherwise. So just heads up play and then keep him with the flow of the game,
Yeah,
and
I like the
there's changes in the game.
Patra smelling a freezing trap. She can throw down the Zilliax, aim at the 5/5. If it's not freezing trap, you can Cinderstorm to try and clean up. But if it is freezing trap, then you don't get your giant frozen at least. I'd like to see trade Spellbender Ping.
No, face.
Maybe. You're at 17.
If you traded, how do you ever win? Is my I'm not saying I'm right again. It's just my constant fear that when you play defensive with this deck against a deck that can now just remove stuff or push more damage this turn, how do you win?
Well, first of all, I think from Patra's perspective, if Blitzchung ever has Zul'jin, you're not getting the win. Like it's very
Right.
unlikely this ever turns into a win out for
Order.
Patra.
So sick.
But if you just go face it from Patra's perspective, if Blitzchung deals with your giant, you're pretty much dead.
Okay.
Like there's just so many ways for that giant to be cleared if you.
Oh, bad hunter play blitzchung. Come on.
I mean,
Bad hunter play blitzchung.
do.
Also, one of the reasons why I like the Dire Frenzy earlier is that you either Zul'jin Masters calls and plays Dire Frenzy, so it increases like really good chances if you draw in the big beast to play. This was still obviously
This was still good. It could have been
game-winning Zul'jin, of
right,
course, but when like Zul'jin in post Dire Frenzy is a beautiful thing as long as it doesn't go off first.
I mean, look at Blitz. Even his hand before and after, right? He just gains so many more resources as well.
Oh, it's sick. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
stupid.
Patra knows it's a freezing trap because that's what was played earlier this game. Zul'jin replaying all spells that have been played previously.
Correct.
This game, not ever.
Never. Never
This
ends.
set, can
Like,
you imagine? That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Oh, that. I mean, I literally think it's uncodable because Hearthstone
It'd
is
be
not
across,
played in
yeah, multiple
fixed
games.
series. But imagine that.
Yeah, we'd be seeing a lot of Hunter.
Imagine if like the more you know the way there's the pack thing where the more packs you open without a legendary, the more chance you get a legendary. I can't remember what do they call it.
The pity timer.
Yes. Imagine if there's pay time for the coin.
Ooh.
The more times you play a game without coin, the more chance there is to get a coin. That's interesting.
Funny you say that. If you talk to some pro players, some will try to convince you. No, yeah, they believe. Yeah.
Although the weird thing is the argument for belief that you get the coin 50% of the time? Because that's not really an argument, is it?
Oh,
Because
no.
that's part of
They believe
like,
it's
you're meant
more
to get
likely
the
in some
coin.
cases. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like you're meant to get the coin 50% of the time, right? So it's like such a roundabout argument. But yeah, while we're talking absolute gibberish, it's mainly because we're giving time for Patrick to just work out if there's any chance of winning this game, because I cannot see it. Even you look at things like the Stranglethorn Tiger, forget about Dire Frenzy and the Animal Companion potentially getting some more damage along with the hero power over a few turns. Even just the Tiger playing it and then hitting face pretty much wins Blitzchung the game. So it's just like, that's just one card out of a full hand right now.
It's interesting if you compare this to the Mech Hunter matchup, right? Against the Mech Hunter just has a very, very straightforward game plan. And as the reason we saw the Mage being able to win that game with the Omega Medic and Zilliax coming back with a healing is just because the Mech Hunter just didn't have any more gas, and that was kind of it. But Blitzchung, sure, his initial assault didn't get there, like his secondary assault didn't get there, but he just has enough stuff.
Yeah.
All right, sure. Like even if Patra happens to do like something crazy miraculous like that, let's find 3 Omega Medics, throw in a couple more Zilliaxes, a few Face Collectors. Blitzchung just has gas. Like,
yeah, I mean, I'm kind of confused by this play though.
the Snake Trap.
Everything.
I missed the attack. So the
So
spring.
the attack went into the 3-1. He wants to trade off the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Right.
I think Blitzchung might be thinking, how in the world do I lose this game? Whereas maybe mindlessly, I would have gone, Tundra Rhino, Dire Frenzy, or Tundra Rhino Animal Companion.
I think you can save that for
like
now.
a ton of damage to the face.
I mean, there's only like three random secrets, 3 random spells left in Patra's hand. I think blitzchung just wants a big board here. Like the Tundra Rhino, if you just happen to, well, actually, first of all, Patra's running Snap Freeze in the deck, so that could just let, like, if you spend 9 mana on the Rhino Dire Frenzy, it's possible there's some sort of blowout. Okay.
Well, at minimum, you can put them to 2, guaranteed, right? You put them to 1 guaranteed, don't you?
Would it have been enough?
Oh, no, sorry, no. It'll be 5. Okay, so not that. What else?
6 damage you would have, I think.
So, but what? So what about the animal companion Rhino Hero Power? That would have been a lot of damage.
Patra trying to go for the Mulch Muncher out, get that frozen, and then kill something else.
That barrier has to happen, right?
10, 14. Yeah, the barrier does have to happen. If it does,
then it's not.
yeah, it's not going to be enough. But at this point, if Patra Conj Callings, it's still not going to be enough either way.
The problem with the Conjurer's Calling is there's now not enough room to get Big Bag Archmage and summon a 6-drop.
Right.
So you literally cannot get a taunt, and you know the Mulch Munchers are going to be bounced, so that's still not looking great.
I didn't realize blitzchung was in fatigue, but
he played both Krakens before Zildjian.
Oh, that would escalate things really quickly.
He's going to discover the Ice Barrier, but I'm pretty sure that's just fine. Again, like I mentioned, this Tiger is just always 5 damage at a complete minimum. It's insane.
Curious as to why he didn't play in the middle, but that's fine. Player on Kono Cold.
Oh, sure, okay. I was like, what are you playing on? Just checking, going through the motions of saying, okay, now there's 14 damage.
All right.
I'll take that.
A lot of different lethals here with blitzchung.
Yeah,
it's gonna go with Dire Frenzy Ping.
So much. It's insane, and there's the victory for blitzchung. And again, you know, to me, it felt one-sided. Maybe I've been too successful in this matchup with specifically, I've been jamming a lot of blitzchung's Hunter as soon as I saw it released.
Yep.
But I feel like it's a really, really good matchup for this Hunter, and I think it's going to be a tough one for Pathra to deal with, because if we look at her options, her tertiary deck removes a Snap Freeze Antonidas and 2 Mountain Giants. I do like the heads-up play of that. It's something we've not seen before. But adds 2 Dart Frogs and Mind Control Tech and Vex Crow, as well as a Frostbolt #2.
So it helps a lot, yeah.
But the problem is,
you lose gas then.
Yeah,
you
still need to kill them. Like this is mid-range Hunter can go for a long time, as we've seen, and with Zildjian, it's going to be absolutely incredible. So that was game number 1. blitzchung takes the win with this mid-range Hunter against the Mage. So the Mage tests just keep on coming. We've only got a game or 2 left of today, so don't go anywhere, and we're going to be right back.
Hi, my name is Hyun-jae Jang, and my Hearthstone nickname is Dan. I'm streaming on Twitch. 처음 그랜드마스터가 되었을 때는 어느 정도 좀 하위 그룹은 면하고 싶다라는 생각도 하기는 했었는데, 확실하게 제가 프로로서의 모습을 보여주고 싶기 때문에 저는 플레이오프까지는 좀 목표를 두고 있습니다. 제가 하스스톤을 하고 나서 가장 많이 바뀐 점 중에 하나가 부모님이 이 게임에 관심을 가지게 되고, 관심을 가지게 되시고, 또 아버지 같은 경우에는 방송에 관심을 가지게 되셨고, 어머니 같은 경우에는 실제로 이 하스스톤을 직접 플레이하고 계신다는 걸 좀 하스스톤 하고 나서 많이 바뀐 점인 것 같습니다. 자, 방송을 하는 걸 이제 보는 걸 굉장히 관심을 가지고 계시고, 아침에 이제 방송을 안 켰을 때 가끔 연락을 하시기도 합니다. 이제 2015년에 제가 처음으로 이제 우승을 하게 됐을 때, 그때 한국에서 처음으로 1억이라는 상금을 획득하게 됐고, 이제 그걸 기념하듯이 팬분들이 그 100K 원에 대해서 좀 그런 식으로 애칭으로 1던이라고 불러줬던, 그게 유래가 됐습니다.
My name is Patrick Cadmus, and my handle on Twitter is Patrick Cadmus, and my Battle.net tag is Pathra. The person that stands out the most to me is Tyler, while I was lining up outside of Worlds. And I think I'd love to beat him, like a streamer versus streamer battle. An average day for me would be waking up, walking my dog, eating while watching someone stream, and then starting up my stream, and then after that, walking my dog again, eating again, and then sleeping. I do think that, yeah, I'm one of the weakest players in this tournament. Like, I would say I'm an underdog. And also, just like being on HGG, I remember seeing people predict that New Zealand would be at the very bottom, but we managed to get top 8 basically both years in a row. And so I do feel there's a lot of pressure for me. I feel like New Zealand is just wanting me to do well, and all the women that are watching me who play Hearthstone are just watching me, and I want to do well for them too. So I remember that pressure hitting me yesterday, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's actually hitting me now. But yeah, I feel okay about it now, and I think I can do it. And I'll do my best, of course.
It's Pathra versus blitzchung here, game number 2. We've got Mage versus Hunter, so just yet another test for this, this Cyclone Mage that so many players are playing on ladder, bringing to tournaments, bringing to Grandmasters as well. And this test, I think, is going to be a very difficult one. I do favor this Hunter list quite heavily, and it's pretty good heads up as a player. blitzchung is actually the only player to bring this style of list, and he has moved over to his tertiary list. Pathra is playing the same primary. Let's check out blitzchung's tertiary list to see what he's changed over and what advantages you think he gives him.
Alright, so blitzchung chose to cut a marked shot, a tiger, and a rhino to put in a hatchet, a second copy of Unleash the Hounds, and one copy of Baited Arrow. So the Unleash the Hounds, recognizing that against a big board where, well, A, after just post-conjuring, there's going to be a lot of minions on the board, or B, just like mirror images that are trying to stop you from getting through. Unleash the Hounds clears that really quickly with a Timberwolf, and it lets you push through with your normal board, or it lets you just clear if you didn't have a board to begin with. So I like an extra copy of Unleash. The Hatchet can help just deal with a Banana Buffoon on curve. It can deal with images itself if you don't have the Unleash, Apprentice, stuff like that. And Baited Arrow does a very similar thing. You can get behind the images. And
also, a big no is Baited Arrow is just damage to face sometimes.
Face?
It's just extra damage, which helps out. So yeah, we might see that. The only just a weird thing for me is that Pathra stayed on the primary deck. Don't get me wrong, the deck's solid. It's definitely not too shabby whatsoever. But she has a deck that has 2 magic dart frogs, an additional frostbolt, a mind control tech, and a Vex Crow, which to me seems good versus Hunter. But the removals, Archmage Anti is fine, Snapfreeze fine, Sandbinder fine. But the 2 Mountain Giants, do you think there's a certain level of fear of without Mountain Giants you can actually swing the game hard enough? And if that's true, why are they removed in the first place?
That's a good question. I'm surprised to see Mountain Giants cut. It's possible that was tailored for a more aggressive deck she was expecting,
like Zoo and Druid.
Right, like Zoo, Token Druid, even Mech Hunter. I'm not even sure that you'd want to cut Giants against Mech Hunter because you need some sort of game plan to get you there.
Right.
But against Zoo or Token Druid, I feel like cutting the Giants could work out for you. The Mountain Giants could work out for you.
Okay, well, just a reminder, Pathra, of course, you can see on screen, is playing Mountain Giant. She is on her primary list, so the list we saw last game. blitzchung shifted over to this tertiary list, which is much more just top face aggressive. It does hurt me a little bit that the Stranglethorn Tiger was removed because I think that card's sick. But yeah, we'll see what he does. And here's the first decision point, right? Aggressive cards versus Zul'jin. He picks aggressive.
Patra's obviously not going to know this. She can't really play expecting, no
Zul'jin. Yeah.
Right. So she's on still the normal game plan, excuse me. blitzchung, however, knows he needs to be a lot more aggressive now because of that choice.
Oh, Bomb Toss, that'll do. I'll switch over to Mech Hunter. Yeah. Pathra sees Bomb Toss, is like, wait, what? What were the 10 cards again? Let me just check.
blitzchung holding the Timberwolf here. It would only push 1 damage. But it is more on board. Yeah, I think he's holding it for the Unleash.
Yeah. Because if the images come down, right? The problem is you don't want to see the big turn and then not have it, right? And have it cleaned off because it's just a waste.
Ooh, just Arcane Intellect from Pathra coming out here. I mean, not a whole lot you can do. Sure, you can double Ray of Frost the hyena.
I'm gonna sell you a play. Right.
Apprentice, Coin, AI, double Ray of Frost.
Oh no, blitzchung play. Of course,
go for it.
blitzchung bomb tosses his own minion to buff the hyena.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I like it.
That seems sick. Because the problem is, Ray of Frost, like, I was a little bit... Pathra made a good play just getting some draw done, because there's nothing for the hyena or a minion to trade into to buff the
Normally,
hyena.
yeah.
But the problem is, Ray of Frost just kills it if it's 2-2.
Yeah.
This would make it much more difficult. Obviously, we see Pathra's double snap freeze, which helps a lot. But I think I would like to see the bomb toss on the 1-1 here. Maybe I'm too...
Maybe too fancy. Remember what happens when you make fancy plays, Raven?
Oh, I can make fancy plays with Hunter, though. It's the one
Okay.
class I think I can.
I think just weaving it in is fine. If it gets frozen, there's going to be a lot of other stuff going on anyway, so I don't think blitzchung's too concerned with buffing it just to get out of Ray of Frost range. Like, honestly, if Patra's double Ray of Frosting, she can still just ping it off later as well.
True.
Or even on the same turn, depending on what spell she would use.
I'm going to sell you a play next turn. Baited arrow your own minion.
That is much better, because it instead of developing a 0-2 that you can't really synergize with, you develop a 5-5.
Right.
Much
Harder for Pathra to deal with too. Although these snap freezes, you can see with the Sorcerer's Apprentice and the Ray of Frost, deal with anything that is targetable.
It's true. I wouldn't be surprised to see Mountain Giant Ray of Frost here.
Okay, next question. Do you Ray of Frost the 1-1 or the 2-2?
2-2.
Okay.
You have Snap Freeze, so you don't care if that gets bigger. She could even just not.
She's going to kill it.
I'm not in love with this play, but okay.
What don't you like about this play?
You're using coin here and both Rays of Frost. Like, your next couple... I guess you do have Sandbinder, so you have something to do next turn. I just feel like you're not getting value out of the Sorcerer's Apprentice.
So my thought is the problem that without... You might not draw Mana Cyclone this game.
Right, that's true.
And without that, well, you can save cards for a day that's never going to come,
You
right?
have Tony in hand, too. It's unlikely you get to that point, but the Hunter hasn't done that much. You didn't see a Dire Frenzy come down. This is probably just fine.
Whoa, that's a little bit scary too. Hunting Party. Not a card you're going to put in your deck, but a card that's scary in itself anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be too influential this game. Blitzchung clearing of the board here. Invests a lot of resources, but does clear the board. Also has to give up the Timberwolf for that, so Unleash becomes a bit more difficult to utilize against the mirror images.
Also, no fear of the giant conjurers, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not, the hand size isn't small.
Well, I don't like that mirror images. I think Patrick needs to slow down a little bit. I think the Apprentice turn was okay, but I would have liked saving it. The Sandbiter does mean you're likely to get a Cyclone back, and with all these cheap spells in hand...
Okay, that's a good one.
It's turn 6, it's green.
It's so good. You know what's really funny is I don't think people valued Rush that much, and now just because of the state of the Hearthstone meta, Rush is fantastic. Like a 6-mana 5/5 is
Minion
a
combat.
bad card, but when you add up 6-mana 5/5 with Rush, but then it also adds another one in your hand, like, wow,
pretty cool.
the card's nuts. So good.
I mean, imagine now Patra had an Apprentice left over, right?
Oh, it's easy to say
okay,
now. Like,
yeah. So we're,
I'm
sure.
gonna do this.
Okay, fine.
No, go on.
But not even speaking results oriented. Like, obviously, sure, she needed to draw the Cyclone, but that was very likely with the Sandbinder already in hand.
And one giant already played.
True, it's possible she could have drawn another giant instead, but at that point, fine, you have another giant. And even if you have the other giant, it's better to have more cards in hand so that giant is playable. I don't know if I like the Apprentice.
So,
it pushes more on board, but your opponent has a Hatchet already. You don't even have Conch Calling, so it's not like you're trying to pull away from the giant and say, deal with my Apprentice, leave my giant up. So I feel like it was used a bit too hastily.
So really, yeah, it's just the long-term game plan was not there. It is sacrificed for a short-term safety plan.
I didn't see the short-term payoff with the use of resources there. Obviously, the Hyena's, off the board at that point, but...
Okay, decent pulls, actually.
Still
Cone
good,
of Cold
yeah.
and a Flame Strike. That is nothing to sniff at. And even Splitting Image, with the way this deck works, can be consistently quite good. Blitzchung has the choice to trade off or push, but I think Blitzchung is just very happy right now with a relatively empty board.
Yeah, seems fine. Pathra is running Sea Giants, right? So...
Yeah. But the slow, that's the problem. Sea Giant, great, you're dead.
You can play it now for 4 mana
Yeah,
and Conch
dead.
Calling it, but you're just dead if you do that. 6, 8, 10, 12, so yeah, exactly lethal. On board anyways.
Flame Strike.
Not bad. On curve. Cleans up
Still
the board.
2 damage from the bomb.
And you kind of see the aggressive game plan from blitzchung, recognizing that
So
holding.
sick. The matchup is so, honestly, when I've been playing this, the matchup is so hard for the mage.
No, I agree.
It's
And
insane.
blitzchung definitely recognizes what he needs to do, because like, you can't just wait. Sure, Zul'jin is great once you get to that point,
Yeah.
but you need to be able to do other stuff. Otherwise, you give the mage time.
But the problem is, like, versus, like, mech is one-dimensional, and it can be frozen out, literally,
yep.
right? Whereas this deck, I feel like there are so many different ways to push damage from hand, through spell, through discovery of spells, and through minions, that it's so much more difficult to play around. Like, I feel this is better than Mech Hunter. Like I said, maybe I'm just biased, I prefer the style, but I feel like the flexibility is the power in this deck.
I agree. I like this deck a lot. I'm surprised more people didn't try this out. I mean, Mech Hunter's been bouncing around a lot very recently, so it's possible that was kind of flavorful in people's mind, like, oh, you know what, Mech Hunter's pretty good again. Let me try Mech Hunter. I've been seeing a lot of that. So maybe it was also just a matter of people haven't been testing all, you know, the different options available. I mean, there are a lot of decks, and the nerf's happening so recently, you can't, you know, play 50 decks and say, okay, this is the one I want.
Right, yeah. Time is definitely a factor when these players have to submit. The nerfs happened earlier this week, and then boom, you've got to submit for your weekend. There's different, you know, there's buffs coming later, then boom, they're going to have to submit again. So it's the pressure on these players, and there is an extra level of skill requirement.
Yep.
Is being able to submit a list. You know a lot better than I do that, you know, the pressure you must feel to say, okay, I'm submitting this.
I need to lock it in,
It's insane. Because once you've done it, and that's just it for the weekend.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't hit anything.
Is it just too little too late?
The conj would be great here if you had something on the board to hit, because this would be your, like, all right, this is my go turn. The problem is conjuring the Luna doesn't do a whole lot. You have the Kona Cold. Maybe this might be the play. You've seen an Unleash. What if you just go face, Khadgar, Cone of Cold, and then conj calling the Luna?
That's what I was
I
piecing
think
together.
that's the line.
And then next turn, you just cross your fingers and then say, this is the game right now, let's see. But I definitely think playing aggressive, you just have to do.
Yeah, I like this.
Fortunately, for Pathra, it's not going to work. Because depending on what she summons, she's going to be very dead. Unless there's something I'm not thinking about that heals.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Oh wow, 1 health
Not
off
quite.
saving the day. She trades off the minions.
Yeah.
You would have stopped the kill command being
So
proc.
blitzchung has kill command for 5 damage with a beast activating it. There's the baited arrow for 3 damage. That's 8. Hero power is 10. Pathra does not have any secrets up, so this is going to be blitzchung taking a 2-0 victory for Pathra.
Yeah, really, really heads up. And really good bring that's worked out very well for blitzchung in this matchup. So this is first
This works
opponent
too,
done
yeah.
for the weekend for blitzchung. But I love the pick straight away. He's the only player in Asia Pacific that's brought this specific style of hunter, and it's paying off in spades.
Yeah, very, very powerful, very good read. Definitely a rough matchup for Pathra. Right.
It's tough though, and again, like
It's just difficult to play out, yeah.
you know, when you wind it back, it's difficult when you realize there's a hole in your strategy, right? Because Pathra's main deck had weaknesses versus Hunter. The snap freezes don't really do much, so there's like
Sure.
2 cards that are harder to use. And then the tertiary deck is anti-aggro, but not good enough to deal with Hunter. And obviously the secondary deck was a much more anti-control, anti-warrior late game, which
Right.
also will die versus mid-range Hunter. So I feel like this is where players can really gain an edge in terms of submission, because blitzchung just got the hit perfect. He presumed a lot of mage. This deck specifically does good versus mage, whilst maybe dodging the obvious techs. I don't know, but it worked out very, very well for blitzchung.
Yep.
So do you think there's anything that, I mean, he did move over to this tertiary deck. What do you make of this tertiary list? Like the Mark Shot, Stranglethorn Tiger, Tundra Rhino gone, and then Hatchet, Hounds, and Baited Arrow added.
I mean, we saw with the Unleash the Hounds there, so the mage has to do some sort of explosive turn, right? Obviously, outside of Mountain Giant Conch Calling, you need to do some sort of Cyclone turn, which means that included in that you'd probably want some mirror images to protect a little bit, have the Apprentice there as well. And against that, all those minions have 2 health, so having an extra Unleash the Hounds helps you get through that. If they don't have mirror images there, the Hatchet gets through it as well, and even just the Baited Arrow can get through all of that. It's good against all of them. All of them can go face as well. They're flexible, they're good in what blitzchung wanted them to do, and we saw quite a bit of those. The Baited Arrow didn't really come out there at the end, but we saw what the Unleash did, right? And having 2 copies of that helped a lot. The Hatchet, 2 mana, 6 damage is crazy by itself too.
Yeah. Especially when they were like almost no decks that can actually beat a 1-drop.
Yeah,
On
right.
1 or 2, depending. Obviously, there's ping, for mage, but
Sure.
in
Doesn't
general,
always
like your
clear.
1-drop just lives, so he gets to survive long enough to proc that hatchet extra damage, of course. But yeah, that's unless I'm missing something, that's it for the day. We had 5 matches today, again as we do on a Friday and Saturday, and we have 6 coming up on the Sunday as well. So. I believe that is going to be it for the day, unless production are going to tell me there's something else coming up. Okay, so we are just going to talk for just a minute. But yeah, what was the highlight match for you? Because we had some crazy series today.
So the highlight match for me is, I think you might know which one I'm going to tell you. Was it Glory versus? It was Glory versus Samuel Tsao.
Oh, okay.
That was. That's the kind of crazy Hearthstone I want to see. I think that's crazy Hearthstone viewers want to tune in and see, where it's just these incredible, crazy games being piloted by very good players. Like, don't get me wrong, both these players are incredibly talented at the game, and it's just seeing some crazy Hearthstone where it's so back and forth, and it's just like, oh my god, like literally what can happen that can, get Glory a win at this point. It's just Astral Rift into a Mega Medic with some Blast Wave sprinkled in, and
I know
it's very cool navigating around some of those crazy turns.
Yeah, it really is. And for me, I think we can just oh, sorry, we've got an interview. I did not realize. I apologize, everyone. We do have a winners interview already, so let's just see if blitzchung is there.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Oh, hello, you can hear us all right?
Yeah,
Awesome. So first off, congratulations on the win, or your first win this week. Can you just tell us about your thought process in bringing this hunter list? Yeah, you're the only player who brought it to APAC, at least, and it seems to be doing pretty well so far.
yeah. First of all, I think most of the people are predicting that Mage would be the best class after nerfs. And my strategy was basically trying to find something that is good against Mage. I wanted to test out things like Holy Wrath Paladin, Murloc Shaman. I tested out Mech Hunter a little bit, but I didn't quite like it. And yeah, but I just didn't have time to test out all this stuff. And mid-range Hunter is what I end up with, because I played this deck quite a lot even before nerfs.
Right. I mean, it seemed to work out pretty well. Is there any specific class or deck or archetype you were afraid to run into after you submitted mid-range Hunter? What is it you're trying to dodge potentially this weekend?
I think it is Holy Wrath Paladin, but I just don't think many people would bring it, and we can see no one bring it in APAC and Europe, right?
Yeah, I think there's 1 or 2 in Americas. I might be wrong. There's definitely 1. I've seen it on the lists. But yeah, it's a really good read. And how have you found like preparing for Grandmasters? Obviously the 2 weeks we've had have been a little bit crazy with week 1, and then obviously with the rogue nerfs. How have you been finding that? Have you been finding it difficult, or is this kind of preparation deck submission something you enjoy?
Well, I actually really enjoy that.
Nice.
Because especially for this week, because I think many of us were quite bored of the last meta. So I was really excited about the meta after nerfs, and yeah, I think I just having a good time preparing with my friends.
Awesome. Well, that's what Hearthstone's all about, isn't it? So congratulations, blitzchung. I'll let you go and enjoy your victory, and we'll see you later this weekend.
Yeah, see you.
Okay, that's a very nice surprise. I didn't realize we were getting a blitzchung interview. I'm very happy. First interview of APAC. We do obviously have some slight issues with being terrible people and not speaking enough languages. It means that we cannot speak to some of the players that aren't able to speak English. But let's check out the results for the day and get you caught up on what happened. So first off, we had Flurry continuing an absurd streak of 3 victories so far, straight in Grandmasters, versus over Rivius. So the Token Druid, what a lot of people put onto being a really good pick for this week, didn't end up making it versus Flurry's Mage. And then we had Shaxi take down Blood Trail with his Warrior in some convincing games. And then also Glory and Samuel Zhao, the match you were talking about, just nutty series. So make sure to watch that one.
We had Dawn and Tyler facing off for that. Dawn taking one with his Mage over Tyler's Bomb Warrior, and also quite a very close set coming down to the wire there at the end. Pathra versus blitzchung was our final match of the day, and blitzchung was able to take that with the Hunter. We're seeing at the end of the day, even with people expecting a lot of Mage and bringing decks that are trying to perform well against it, Mage has still come out on top here, right? 3 wins, 2 losses.
Yeah, I mean, that's just correct.
Small
Yeah.
sample size, but still, it's still worth noting. The power of the deck is.
And also bear in mind, it's small sample size with extremely good players. So it's not as if you're running just, random people are playing these lists. These are literally some of the best players in the world. So yeah, Mage is still doing good enough to bring tons of different builds as well. So it's been a pretty sick first day for week 2 for us at least. And again, I don't know if the general viewer will know much about blitzchung. All I'm going to say is he is very good at this game, and he's going to continue to do well. I have confidence in him, especially if he keeps bringing cool decks like mid-range Hunter and just crushing people. But his read, was like
read was great.
It's like, I didn't have much time to do it this week, but I thought this would be good, and I don't like this deck, but I thought this would be good versus this. And then he just got a great read and just took down Patra's Mage in quite convincing fashion. And I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head who his second opponent is for this week, but if he hits another Mage, then he'll be feeling very, very confident that blitzchung is going to 2-0 this week. But that's going to be us for day number 1. This was Asia Pacific Grandmasters. If you want to watch even more Hearthstone, stay tuned, because I believe Admirable and Derek are going to be here taking over very, very quickly on the channel to continue with Europe. And depending on when you want to sleep, there is Americas pretty much straight after that. So we've got 3 more days of week 2 of Hearthstone Grandmasters here. But from Language Hacker myself, have a fantastic night, morning or day, and we'll see you tomorrow.